of the rocket, right around 2 seconds, you'll see a green flash. That's a mixture of hypergolic ignition with some chemicals that basically help fire the rocket up.
Yeah, we have some gas generators that start the engines up to help basically provide that ignition. You know, talking about your little science right there, it's basically a fire triangle, right? We have RP1 as a fuel, liquid oxygen as an oxidizer, and we just need to provide a spark to get the engines going, and that's what you'll see there just prior to liftoff.
T-minus 1 minute and counting.
Falcon is in startup.
And now you heard the startup, which means the computers on board Falcon 9 are now in control of terminal count.
That's correct, Daryl, and we should be hearing the final go here from the team.
LD go for XP launch.
And there we just heard launch director giving the go for the XP launch. So things are beginning to ramp up here, and we will see that the vent valves get closed. The team is ready to go, and XP will be on its way here in about 30 seconds.
T-minus 20 seconds and counting until liftoff. Okay, and here we go. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, ignition. And liftoff. Liftoff of Falcon 9 and XP. A new set of X-ray eyes to view the mysteries of our skies.
We hear the launch vehicles cleared off, and we're hearing nominal chamber pressures on all 9 Merlin engines.
Beautiful shot there showing the VAB and the rocket lifting off. Vehicles pitching downrange. Onboard camera showing right down the booster.
Power and telemetry nominal.
So we're seeing that everything is performing nominal so far on the Falcon 9, Daryl. It's a beautiful liftoff this morning as you and I get to now experience that rumble from the Falcon 9 here at the Mission Director Center in Hangar AE. Things continue to perform well, and we hear that the vehicle is supersonic, and our next milestone we're looking to get through max Q, or maximum dynamic pressure.
Falcon 9 engines pulling back just a little bit as that max Q milestone passes. Beautiful shot right there.
Vehicles made it through max Q, and that's great to hear. That's the point of maximum stress on the vehicle, Daryl, and the Falcon 9 is performing well as we see that onboard camera and the exhaust and flames from the 9 Merlin engines on board. XP continues downrange successfully and nominally so far.
Stage 1 trajectory is looking good. They're starting to chill now the second stage engine, get it ready to ignite. Everything flying on track. We are 2 minutes into flight. You see those 9 Merlin D engines all lit up. And in just about 20 seconds, those engines will cut off. And rapid succession, we'll get MECO, you can see the progress bar across the bottom of your screen. There's a shot from inside the Falcon 9 rocket.
First stage engine cutoff.
Stage separation confirmed.
And there we have main engine cutoff, and you just saw that the stage 1-2 SEP on the video as stage 2 MVAC-D engine gets ready for ignition, and we see that we have ignition on the MVAC-D.
It's a great sign to see that engine glowing red hot as the first of 2 burns takes place. The rocket falling back to Earth, the first stage of the rocket. We hope to get a shot of it as it deploys its grid fins and prepares for its landing. That is on the left side of your screen. On the right side of your screen is the second stage. It's dark out, so of course Not going to see a whole lot, but you will see that left side light up when we have that entry burn as the rocket booster falls back through Earth's atmosphere, and they slow it down a little bit.
We should hear fairing jettison here shortly, which
Fairing separation confirmed.
there we have fairing separation confirmed, and
watch this.
And we see that on the video here, and that now exposes Ixby to the environments of space. It was protected by that fairing on ascent for aero heating and loading, and things are going well. Flight looks nominal so far. MVAC-D is performing very well. Chamber pressures look good, and continues on its course.
4 minutes into flight, everything looking nominal. 190,000 pounds of thrust from that engine right there. I call that the MVAC engine.
Acquisition of signal, Bermuda.
Four minutes and 30 seconds into flight. They have a couple of different angles off the back of the second stage.
I could say, Daryl, as we look at this and we continue to watch the data and things perform nominally, I'm just feeling real excited about how second stage is performing. I mean, we had an on-time liftoff this morning at 1 a.m. with the stage one, and stage one continues to fall back to Earth. We should be seeing that entry burn in, about 2 minutes to start the recovery of the first stage. But stage two and this MVAC-D engine is performing extremely well right now and putting Ixby on this path, that circular orbit that we talked to get started before we have that second burn. So things continue to look good on this mission.
Trajectory.
There's the call out that everything is looking, as you said, great with stage two. This, the 130th launch of a Falcon 9 rocket carrying the Ixby spacecraft. First launch also from Kennedy Space Center's Launch Complex 39A.
Yeah, for Launch Services Program, as we stated earlier, it's the first dedicated scientific mission for us. We are so excited to be launching from that historic pad with a Falcon 9, where astronauts have launched from during Apollo and Shuttle, and now we get to launch one of Launch Services Program's science missions.
Stage 1 FTS is safe.
From there, and everything looks great. We heard that Stage 1 FTS is safe. That's a good sign.
Stage 1 entry burn startup.
And we're seeing the startup of the Stage 1 entry burn. You can see there on your left side of your screen the 3 engines that have started up to slow that first stage down as it re-enters the atmosphere, along with the grid fins as it continues to keep the booster on track and steer.
And as that booster falls, this engine burn, roughly 30 seconds long, just basically slowing it down as it goes
Stage
to the
1
atmosphere.
entry burn shutdown.
And the stage 1 entry burn there is now finished. Looking now to stage 2. This one will cut off in about 60 seconds. That will complete.
Stage 2 on nominal trajectory.
And that will complete the first burn. Look across the bottom of your screen. You can see engine cutoff 1. That's our next milestone. Look to the clock in the upper left-hand corner. 40 seconds from now, we'll have that next milestone.
We hear from the
Stage 2
team.
FTS is safe.
We hear from the team. Continue to look at the data, Daryl.
Stage 1 transonic.
Is still nominal and looking good. Stage 2 is performing very well, and chamber pressures remain within family and nominal for this flight.
And just seconds away now from the cutoff of that second stage engine that you're watching there, burning brightly, carrying Ixby through space into its correct orbit.
Stage 1 landing burn.
MVAC engine cutoff.
So there we can see that the stage 1 landing burn has started to get the first stage landing on just read the instructions. And we also heard the call that SECO 1 has happened, second stage engine shut off. Landing legs have deployed, and we can see the first stage coming down on the drone ship there.
A little pixelated, but that is the image from the drone ship. Live pictures coming from SpaceX's Just Read the Instruction, and there you see it. Looks like the rocket made a great touchdown.
Absolutely. We just heard from the team that they're confirming that stage 1 is down safely, and that's exciting to be able to bring that booster back for a 5th time. We'll look forward to see where that booster 1061 shows up for its next mission. It did well today on the first stage burn, getting second stage on its way. Second stage picked up, as we said, nominal trajectory and continued to burn. We are now in a coast phase, Daryl, that you had mentioned earlier, as we head towards that western coast of Africa to get ready for second stage engine burn number 2.
And there you see the ground track that we've completed so far. And as you mentioned, all along the path today, everything looking great from launch to separation, the booster coming back down, and now in that coast phase. You can see there the engine bell is now back to ice cold. So it's not firing. And that right there is IXPE, the camera pointed. You can see its 3 telescopes through those 3 curves in the front. IXPE is in space, and we are tracking it as it coasts. And as it does so, we're going to tell you a little bit more about the science. And for that, let's throw it back to Megan and Marie.
All right, thank you, Daryl and Mick.
Burn, and we should see some rotation here as the Earth moves, as it makes that turn. Glowing red
Full
hot.
thrust.
Just heard the call for full thrust.
Yep, that means MVAC-D is up and going. This will be a full 60-second burn, as you said, to make that 28-degree plane change, and that's a very important maneuver to get us into that equatorial orbit.
And Mick, when they show that shot from the second stage with the Earth behind it, you can see the plane change. You can see it moving. It appears to be moving sideways.
Yeah, it's that left-hand turn we talked about.
That's right. It's not the first turn Daytona 500, but it is a turn.
That's correct, and this is very important so that IXPE can be in that equatorial orbit to allow for that science that Dr. Weisskopf was talking about. And it was amazing to talk to him earlier and hear about why this is important. And
Nominal MVAC cutoff.
there we see the call and on the screen the terminal cutoff, engine cutoff for MVAC-D. So that burn is complete, and we will now coast for just a few more minutes, about 3 minutes away from spacecraft separation.
And we just heard nominal orbit insertion, which is a great call out. You look at your bottom of your screen, you see the timer there until spacecraft separation. Of course, that's a big moment. So one of the lightest spacecrafts ever launched by Falcon 9, but they needed a lot of performance to get it into that right there, that equatorial orbit. We'll be back for spacecraft separation in just a few minutes. In the meantime, back to Megan and Marie.
The center of our Milky Way galaxy. This black hole has about 4 million times the mass of our sun, and at just 26,000 light years from Earth, Sagittarius A star is one of very few black holes in the universe where we can actually witness the flow of matter nearby.
And we are now closing in on spacecraft separation. To guide us through that milestone, let's head on over to you-know-who, Daryl and Mick in the Mission Director Center. Daryl?
All right, thank you, Megan. And we are back just a few minutes later, as we mentioned, and just about 70 seconds away from spacecraft separation. A big moment for the IXPE team, for the Falcon 9 team, and SpaceX, and, of course, Launch Services Program. It's all coming down to this.
Yeah, Daryl, I was telling you just a few minutes ago how excited I am for this, how well second stage performed. We were trying to get that 600 kilometer by 600 kilometer equatorial orbit, and we have nailed it. SpaceX did an excellent job delivering that there to a proper insertion, and I'm excited to see the spacecraft step. I'm probably as excited as Dr. Weisskopf is, but
he was so excited he almost cursed.
Yeah, this is going to be great. We're about 30 seconds from spacecraft SEP. This is an incredible mission as we see this beautiful view of IXPE on the front of that Falcon 9 second stage in space, getting ready to start its mission.
You got the sun in front and IXPE to the left. Those are the telescopes. You can see the 3 rounded areas of the 3 telescopes. You can see the dark squares. Those are the solar panels on this particular spacecraft. And in just a few seconds, we're going to see this release and go off into space.
And payload separation confirmed.
There it goes. IXP now in space, in orbit around the equator, ready to take in science. And there go the solar arrays.
Yeah, that is incredible to be able to see that happen right after. That is great for the IXP spacecraft as they begin to start all their operation checkouts and getting IXP ready over the next 30 days to start its science mission. IXP continues to move away from second stage there. And Daryl, what's unique about this, even though we've had spacecraft separation, is to take care of that second stage. Falcon 9 second stage will perform a third burn using the MVAC-D, and we call that a deorbit burn, to be able to get the second stage out of orbit and try to reduce some of that space junk that we have up there. So, doing our part to make sure that we don't leave anything there. But I'm telling you, that is a beautiful shot to watch IXP go on its way away from that second stage.
And look, the solar panels flexed out a little bit more. Look at them going straight. And that's to get that sunlight and get that power going into those batteries. I love that we can see the view for this long.
Yeah, this is amazing. I'm so happy to see this. I'm sure Dr. Weisskopf is just overjoyed watching this video right now of his spacecraft on its way.
If he was speechless before, I can only imagine how he's feeling now. We are now awaiting the IXP acquisition of signal. This is the communication that happens between a ground station in Malindi off the coast of Kenya and the actual IXP spacecraft. And it will tell us a little bit about how IXP is doing.
Yeah, that's right, Daryl. And that's a key point for the spacecraft team, to be able to know that they've got communication with the spacecraft, getting them into the proper orbit, allowing that ground station to download some data and make sure that the spacecraft is healthy. Of course, what we will see is that acquisition of signal can vary anywhere from 4 to 7 minutes after SEP here, due to the fact that the low rate data or the data coming from the spacecraft, depending on where it's at, and then we may not get full health data until a full orbit around Earth. But we're waiting to hear that we do get this acquisition signal, at least to make sure we know that we've established
signal, the bone.
communication with the IXP spacecraft.
And as you can see from that track right there, that's the location of stage 2. It gives you a rough approximation of where IXP is as it continues on its orbit. Kenya, of course, just right there at the edge of that track, that's where our ground station is. If for some reason we can't pull it in through Malindi, we have a backup station in Singapore.
Yeah, it's true. We've got ground stations all across the orbit to make sure that we can communicate with this spacecraft while it's on orbit. But the primary ground station being that one in Malindi, as we talked about earlier, this equatorial orbit allows them to orbit around Earth, and every time they make an orbit around Earth, they come over that same ground station in Malindi. They're able to download their scientific data and share that with the community. It allows them to continue getting more data each time and making sure that they have everything they need and checking on the spacecraft every single orbit.
And for those just joining us, we are T plus 37 minutes and 30 seconds into flight. We are awaiting the acquisition.
So we're still waiting to hear about acquisition of signal as they continue to work their processes and procedures. The spacecraft team is actively waiting to hear from IXPI as they communicate with it.
We are actually listening to communications between the spacecraft team and the launch team, monitoring them to see when that acquisition of signal comes through.
As you can see there on the graph, that stage 2 continue, and IXPI continues to move on its way around that equatorial orbit.
And for those who haven't heard the early part of the show, IXPI stands for Imaging X-ray Polarimetry Explorer. This is a spacecraft that, for the first time, will help astronomers discover hidden details of some of the hottest, densest, and most extreme cosmic sources, from neutron stars and black holes through supernova and active galactic nuclei.
I think that's going to become a popular pop culture phrase.
Active galactic nuclei?
I do. I think scientists are going to make that come back.
The AGN.
Yes, but I'm so happy for the science team, and I know they're excited to study all of this. And as we continue to monitor the spacecraft team, and they're following all their procedures, following the checklist, waiting to confirm acquisition of signal, and we'll continue with the mission.
Got some good news.
Yep, that is correct, Darrell. We are hearing from the spacecraft team as they are talking to NASA's launch manager, Tim Dunn, that they have acquired the signal of IXPI from the ground station, and everything looks good on board. So congratulations to the IXPI spacecraft team. That was a moment I know they were waiting for, and I'm so happy to hear that they are communicating with their spacecraft.
Yeah, we waited for that confirmation to come through. We could hear the spacecraft team in our audio loops, as they call them, celebrating. There was a round of applause. There was some clapping. Certainly a neat moment to hear. Sorry we couldn't share